Howdy, folks. Welcome to the latest episode of Doobies with Doug. As you might have noticed, these are stacking up quick. It's because Doug has too much free time and a seemingly endless supply of doobies. Smoking that Gorilla Glue today. I found some of that on sale. Some 28% or something. Got a good CBD profile behind it. Gets you nice and heady and stoned and relaxed. Makes you hungry. So I kind of wanted to touch on some things when it comes to herb and cancer. There is so much bullshit out there. Okay, whether it's indica, sativa, uplifting, all this other, it's all conjecture. There's almost no studies, no clinical trials, no anything done with cannabis until maybe 10 years ago here in this country. Israel and Portugal have been doing scientific studies on it for Israel the longest, and then Portugal. But here, the clinical trials are so heavily influenced by major universities, which, of course, are heavily influenced by the pharma industry, that they're just moving at a snail's pace. It's nearly impossible to get anything real done. Funny how they can push shit through the FDA in a matter of months with almost no fucking trials whatsoever when it benefits them. But they're going to drag their feet and make every dime they can off of the weed. Which, by the way, the United States government holds the patent on the anti-inflammatory compounds in cannabis, CBDs and such. They hold the patent. I don't remember the number. It's 69 something patent number. You can Google it and look it up. They've owned it since the 70s. Our government has known its medicine since the 70s. That's why they got the patent on it. So when the law changes, and they can get their finger in it. Every medical marijuana nugget sold. The United States government gets paid twice. Once because taxes, and twice because they hold the patent. Okay? So, again, we need to ignore the official narrative. And with that said, I have no narrative. All I can tell anybody is what my experiences are. Smoking cannabis does nothing to cause aptosis. Nothing. If you don't know what that means, aptosis is the process when a cell reaches the end of its programmed life, it dies and goes somewhere. It goes into your poop, goes wherever. Cells that don't experience aptosis keep replicating. That's cancer. Okay? So, smoking cannabis is not going to help cause that to straighten itself out. Having survived cancer that is 100% lethal every time it is diagnosed as late stage as I was. I'm going to throw this out there, and you can listen to it or not, or care or not, or believe it or not. But I feel a moral imperative to put it out there. First and foremost, if what you're trying to do is get a grip on cancer, the very, very, very first thing you need to do is remove yourself from the grid. Okay? Cells use very complex electrical and other types of energetic communication with each other. The electromagnetic fields coming off from the grid interfere with those. You're not going to do a superhuman thing while being bombarded with poisonous, toxic magnetic fields that come from the grid. You're wrapped in a box of it all day. You stare at it all day. I have to take conscious control over how much electricity I'm around on a daily basis. When I run my heater, when I have my lights on, when I plug my camper in, when I don't plug my camper in, what's shielded, what's not shielded. Okay, electricity plays a huge part in it. And if you're trying to get ahead of the cancer, the first thing you're going to need to do is fucking go camping. Somewhere. For me, it was the Redwoods in California. I spent a couple years, 99% of my time alone, outside the grid, in the Redwoods, connecting to the earth again, and healing. Now that's one of the big ones. The second one is you. Okay? There's this thing about, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, this fear of dying, this fear of dying, this fear of dying. Think about that. If you put your attention constantly on something, you're manifesting it in the universe. And if what you're obsessed with is this fear of dying, your body's going to respond to that. Cancer is cells that don't die. They're immortal until the host is gone. Get it? So that's two very major things. Is number one, get out of the grid. Number two, stop getting in the way of your own self. Then back to cannabis. If what you want to do is control that interface between your brain and your cells, you're going to want to fully activate your endocannabinoid system. You're going to want to fully activate your glandular system. You're going to want to fully activate yourself. Which once you're outside of the electricity and you start eating clean and you start being more pH conscious, because cancer does not thrive in an alkali system, it thrives in an acidic system. I spent 2 years not drinking coffee or soda or any of that. Fucking torture. But I had to make my system alkali. Now, the two main ways to get the cannabinoids into you in a way that is going to help you fight cancer directly, that is going to spur aptosis, are concentrated THC oil, 95% or above pure THC delta 9. Also known as Rick Simpson oil, but not everything that says RSO on it is RSO. Do your research. Look at the Phoenix Tears Foundation. Read the testimonials. Read the paperwork put out by the oncologists and the doctors that have taken part in the Phoenix Tears Foundation and what they say about purity levels of THC and concentration. And the second way is raw juicing cannabis. And this works mostly for intestinal cancers, colon cancers, but it's going to help with anything. Now, the unfortunate end of that is that anybody who has ever juiced anything knows it takes a shitload of something to make any juice, right? If you want a glass of fucking carrot juice, you're going to need a pile of fucking carrots. So if you want a glass of fucking weed juice every day, you're going to need a pile of weed. Roughly about fucking $600-700 a day, up to a couple $1,000s a day, depending on where you live, worth of cannabis. So, I mean, I know Tommy Chong was squirting raw cannabis up his butt, and that's how he got rid of the colon cancer, but not everybody's got Tommy Chong's budget. But those are the two main ways, is a concentrated oil and raw juice. Now, you can dig into the science and understand it however you can best understand it. I'm not going to bore you with that. I could sit here with the links up on my laptop and quote every study and every piece of science, and I can break it down for you. I had to learn this shit. When you got a hole in your brain, you got to be sure you're learning shit as best as you can. So I did. And those are the two main ways. Get out of the grid, change your diet so that it's alkali, raw cannabis, and Rick Simpson oil. 95% or above Rick Simpson oil. And be really careful how it's concentrated. Don't want any residuals. So how they make the concentrate is really important. Right? That's where the other end of it comes in. Because like I was talking about, getting in the way of yourself, of your own healing, that's what smoking does. It makes you hungry, it makes you relaxed, and it makes you distracted. It helps you access that part of yourself that isn't all occupied with these mental processes and these habits and paradigms that you've drawn up for yourself. Okay? Is that simple enough? And probably most importantly is to remember that cancer isn't a naturally occurring disease. It is 100% man-made. The way that I survived stage 4 glioblastoma was to get the fuck away from men and just be with the trees. But the most powerful tool out there for fighting cancer is right here. So, smoke them if you got them.